Hello Scorpio friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Scorpio October 2020 Astrology Must Knows. We have reached the time of the year where it is getting to be all about Scorpio. So all of the things that make you tick are going to be coming in excess this month, especially because we have Mercury retrograde in your sign. Of course, then followed by the sun and that's going to add another layer of the focus on your placement. So any planet that moves through Scorpio crosses over your placement, and that close mathematical connection, it tends to enhance energies and bring big news and occurrences. So we've got, let's talk about birthdays first, okay? So those of you at the beginning of the sign, your birthdays are going to happen this month. If you're watching for your moon or rising sign and you have your degrees from 0 to 9 degrees, you're also going to have your birthday or your crossing over of the sun over your placement at this time, which is like a rebirth as well. So it's a very magical time when the sun amplifies your placement and brings warmth and focus and light. A lot of times the energy, well, not a lot of times, 100% of the time, at least the sun will move through the 12th house before it gets to this magical rebirth point. Okay, and a lot of times you will really feel that, because what that means is that the light is going on in the attic of your experience. All of your fears, all of your worries, things that you haven't dealt with, plus gifts, opportunities, revelations, hidden talents, and all kinds of other hidden positive things are dwelling in this attic. And in the weeks before your birthday or the crossover of the sun over your rising or moon, the sun lights up that space for better or worse. So if you notice that you get a little anxious before your birthday, that is the sun lighting up this area of your life, making you take a look at certain things that have been more hidden. But the more that you greet those things with true transformation attitude that Scorpios tend to have, the more you can alchemically convert those. And it is purposeful because the universe sets up this time for birthday wishes or rebirth, which happen on your birthday or when the sun crosses over your placement, to happen after the sun moves through this house, okay? And that sets you up to see all the things that you don't want, all the things that are a problem in your life, so that you can use your wishes or intentions to wish away from the things that have been a problem, okay? If you want to learn more about using astrological power periods to make your wishes come true or to set your intentions, you can look for Annie Making Wishes Come True. I'm pretty sure it even comes up without my last name, but you can put Annie Botticelli Making Wishes Come True, and that will give you more insight about how to use days like birthday wishes and these other astrological power periods. Okay, so now that you know you're going to walk through a little anxiety in the time before your birthday happens, let's talk about the different levels of this month that make it bubbling with alchemical potentials. We have not one but 2 full moons this month. The full moon is always a time where we shake off excess emotional energy and things can come to fruition, completion, closure, be brought to light, or bring drama, or all of the above. And so October 1st and October 31st, we have 2 full moons. That means the second one, the one on the 31st, is a blue moon. So we know that there's a lot of mystical lore associated with the energy of the full moon. And when that's a blue moon, that is amplified. And if that is near your placement or in your sign, that's going to amp up the energies, okay? So on the 31st, which is All Saints Day, which is, Halloween, Samhain, whatever you follow at that time or connected to that, whatever celebrations you do, this is a crazy time to have a blue moon. It's super rare. So the connections to the other worlds are going to be much more amplified for better and worse at this time. So just protect your energy field, because Uranus is going to be conjunct the moon, which is going to add a jolt. And that again could be for better or worse. So you can have a jolting experience, or you can have breakthrough insights or amazing, shocking experiences. Every Scorpio will be profoundly affected by both of these moons, especially the second one around on the 31st. But those of you who are near the degrees of 8 degrees, 8 or 9 degrees, or like 5 degrees before or after, so we'll say 3 degrees through like 13 or 14 degrees. So that's basically almost all of the October born Scorpios from around like the 27th through like November 3rd or 4th. And the closer you are to like the 30th, 31st, the more intense it will be for you. Okay, so the more profound. And anything can come to fullness or fruition, but this is particularly focused on relationships, finances, and for some of you, especially those of you later in the sign, we'll say November born, that is more likely to come up with something with your work or your health or something with pets. Okay, so fullness, fruition, completion, drama, for better or worse, in those areas. So we're kind of weaving together here the layers of what's making this month so profound in the course of the year. Okay, because this month is like a little, it's like the epitome, an encapsulated, intense version of what's been going on for the whole year of 2020, which is massive change, the energy of transition, massive emotions and, coming up from repressed areas for better and worse. And so between the sun getting into Scorpio, Mercury being retrograde in Scorpio, plus you add in the layer that the eclipses are coming November and December. If you followed my work for a while, then you know that I always talk about eclipses before they happen, because eclipses as an astronomical event happen on one day. But eclipses as an astrological event have a very long storyline that can relate back to years since the last eclipse in those signs. It can relate back to months. So this eclipse series that we have that's going to be in November and December started in June and July. Okay, so storylines that started then are going to continue and come back into the forefront at this time. And 4 to 6 weeks before the first one leaves us in October, which is prime time for the news and the rumblings and things to be starting to stir to a boil in the eclipse factor. And we will talk about the eclipses in more detail. I'll tell you where in the charts they'll show up for you in the November and December report. But just to know that part of the profile for this month is this building in intensity. And there are a lot of layers of this building in intensity. And everything is just about to crack. Okay, so the storylines that started last year when Jupiter got into Capricorn, and then as Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto have been combining and in Capricorn, and if you haven't watched my video, How Astrology Explains the Coronavirus, you can search for Annie Botticelli Coronavirus, and I have a very extended explanation of how these outer planets have been at work in transforming our experience. But this year has been this long, restricted ending of a cycle that is ready to break into the Aquarius energies, which happens in December. But here in October and November, we're like getting to the pinnacle of what's been building and going on for this whole year. So that's going to add another layer to the intensity, and everyone's going to be vibrating with uncertainty, with curiosity, with change, or the feeling that change is about to come, but not knowing exactly what it's going to be. Things from the past are definitely going to feature heavily as Mercury is in retrograde. Also, plan changes, things that were certain cast into uncertainty. Big must know for this month is to try to leave this month as unscheduled as possible. Whatever basic things you have to schedule for work and life, obviously you have to do those. But the more open and flexible your plans are, the more you'll be able to show up for what intense things within yourself and other people and what the universe might bring to you at this time. And you'll see what I mean as we get into that time, that there are going to be a lot of layers going on. So if you have to travel, I don't know to what degree travel will be occurring at this time, but if you have to, make sure that they're flexible plans, or any other plans you make, the more flexible, the more you'll be happy that they were flexible. Okay, so at the same time as there's this several layers of uncertainty, there are going to be blasts of clarity that come through the various aspects this month, and these full moons are going to be major elucidation points. Okay, Besides Mercury retrograde, we also have Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde is a very important transit to note for Scorpios because Mars is a co-ruler along with Pluto for Scorpio placements. So when you have your ruler retrograde, this is particularly poignant. You can look at my resources if you search for Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde or click on the More button with the arrow underneath this video. I have links to my Mars retrograde resources where you can get much more information about what, the do's, the don'ts, the things to know about this time. But one major point is that it's not a time to force things. It's a time to observe when the keynote of Mars retrograde, which can be frustration, starts to come up, and then you steer away and steer your conscious activity away from those things that are bringing the frustration. It's also a time when repressed anger and resentments may come up in a big way. So healing your gallbladder, healing your liver, healing the anger and resentment that you may have, you'll have plenty of opportunities to do that. And although it might not seem like fun if an opportunity to heal resentment comes up, it will be very fun if you actually succeed in healing some of it, because what can come from it is so profound, just in general as a spiritual practice, but also because, as I was saying, as Jupiter and Saturn leave this Capricorn configuration, that energy of restriction that has been the keynote of this year is going to, burst open into the energy of Aquarius, which is this revolutionary, innovative, solution-oriented series of options. It's going to open things up tremendously as this energy starts to clear. And you may feel some of that now, but it's also like this, I keep calling it like a vibrating with that energy before something cracks, kind of like an egg, if it's going to shake a little bit while it's cracking. That's what October and the beginning part of November is like. An image to hold in your mind to really understand this year more and to understand how this month is like the epitome of the energy of this year and the pinnacle of it, has to do with birth and the word transition. Everybody knows what the word transition means by a normal definition, but as a medical term, when birthing, it refers to a specific phase of the birthing process where the cervix is dilated and the baby is, can come out. And that time of transition can be different for different women, but it's that time called transition, and it's marked by certain things where experienced birthers or birth givers or birth, space holders know that when a woman starts saying, I can't do this, there's no way, this isn't going to happen, the baby's never coming out, like this kind of crazy stuff or seemingly crazy stuff, that usually goes with this energy of transition where it's just about to happen. It's like getting to that point of seeing the impossibility of it all just before it cracks into actually happening. And although not everybody will deliver a baby in their life to understand this aspect of it, every human is constantly going through the creation process and the birthing pains and that energy of right before you're about to do something big or something big is happening that it feels like there's no way that it can ever happen. And then you freak out and surrender, and then it does. So that's what October is. October is this time when the fears and the anxiety and the emotions and the repressed energies and everything is just bubbling up and coming to a head, and everyone can see the impossibility of it all and the uncertainty of it all. And, fortunately for Scorpios, this type of, awkward, uncertain, highly emotional, transformational energy is something that Scorpio energies just really know well and tend to do well. So you'll be comfortable in that way, but you'll be uncomfortable because of what it's bringing. So there's basically, one more thing to know about Mars retrograde is that when you force things at Mars retrograde time, it tends to boomerang back to you. So whether that's an act of aggression towards somebody else or whether it's trying to force something into creation, a lot of times that energy comes back to you and doesn't work out the way that you wanted to and can work out opposite. So it really is a time to just chill out. And for people who are Mars-led, I am also Mars-led. I have Aries rising and Mars rules Aries. I've come to love Mars retrograde because I understand it, and you get to get a break from yourself, that kind of obsessive, angsty sometimes, you know, like pushing, assertive energy, whether it's inwardly pushing or outwardly pushing, can be exhausting. And when it's in retrograde, when Mars is in retrograde, it's like you can get a break from that if you let it. So if you notice you're lazy and you let yourself be lazy, that can be so much easier, and you can just coast and rest on some past laurels. That's another beautiful must know about this time, is that it is a time to sort of roll with things that you've created. You can continue working as momentum and your ambitions are flowing well. But if they're not, just let it go and just coast. Something else that's notable about this time is that, as I talked about the liver and the gallbladder, maybe I didn't in this one, but in previous videos I've been talking about with Mars retrograde that the liver rules anger and the gallbladder rules resentment. And there are different energies, emotions that are housed in the organs. And fear is housed in the kidneys. And there are Libra placements happening this month, and that is related to the kidneys. Okay, so the kidneys are also going to come into the forefront, and the energetic connection to this energy of fear are going to be up. Okay, there is a fear channel that runs from your adrenals, like the fight, flight, or freeze. Your adrenals are back here, and then down to your kidneys, and then your psoas muscle, which is a muscle that joins up at the vertebrae over here and then goes through your sacrum and then joins at your femur bones, your hip bones up here. And then there's the energy goes down your leg, kind of gets a little trapped at the knees, and then flows to the feet. So all of those energies have this, it's a fear channel. So something amazing to know about this month, and just always whenever fear may be coming up in a big way, as it will be at this time, is that it tends to get stuck in the psoas muscle and the piriformis muscle. The psoas muscle is a hip flexor. It pulls your legs like up and in, like when you're sitting, your psoas muscles are tight. Your piriformis muscle is a hip rotator. They're hip rotators. Those muscles seem to play an energetic role in this fear channel. So they tend to get really tight, and that is part of a fear response. And the piriformis muscle, when it's inflamed or really tight, can cause sciatica, which is another manifestation of fear. So stretching regularly the psoas, which is PSOAS muscle, and the piriformis, which is PIRIFORMIS muscles. Now, if you have brittle bones, or you've had a hip replacement, or you have some other medical reason why this isn't a good idea, consult a practitioner, and maybe you need to be guided through this safely. But most people can look up how to stretch those muscles, and the more, and it's going to be like, so like, oh, you're going to yell like a banshee when you try to stretch these muscles, because for most people they're super tight unless they're working on them. But you will notice how fear and anxiety can decrease when those muscles are constantly being stretched enough that the flow of fear that comes here, like I pointed out, down through your feet, can have a place to flow and not get held with, like paralyzed with fear, basically. So you can use this through this month to really be part of the alchemical process. You can also use EFT, the emotional freedom technique, which is scientifically proven to help you clear belief systems, debilitating emotions, and also break bad habits, instill new habits, heal on all levels. And there's tons of free information online. You can just search for EFT for anxiety or EFT for fear, and you'll find tons of resources on that. So it's going to be a really powerful month, and you know, there's going to be a lot of things that are really important. One last positive piece that I want to talk about has to do with Venus coming into a configuration with those outer planets in the Earth signs. Okay, so Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, all in Capricorn, and then Uranus and Taurus. Venus is going to move through Virgo, which is a nice placement for Scorpio because it makes a nice angle for you. And it's going to make the most harmonious angle in all of astrology with those outer planets. Venus rules love, beauty, and money, and self-esteem. So throughout the month, there are these beautiful kisses that Venus will make to these outer planets, bringing in material gains, having beautiful waves of nice angles to your Scorpio placements, and can bring blessings from previous mischief, and can bring blessings from any mischief that happens in this month. So those are the things that are most on my mind to talk about in the video, but I do have tons of free resources to see what else you can understand about these energies. I do a write-up for my email newsletter list. You can sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. I only send out 3 emails a month, so you won't be spammed. I'm very careful. I don't like to receive a lot of emails, so I don't send a lot out. And all of them are information-based with tools that I've created or information that I have put together for you to understand the aspects better. And I do a write-up of all the sweet dates, all the salty dates, and there are double the challenging aspects this month as there are the sweet ones, how you can best deal with those, what the general energies are of the month in detail, all written and delivered into your inbox 1 month early. So you can sign up for that at anniehelpsyou.com. You also get Shine, my 28-day virtual coaching program, for free when you sign up for my email newsletter. You can see my extensive blogs at anniehelpsyou.com, including how you can maximize Personal Planet Retrogrades, which will be featured there in my astrology blog section. You can get written horoscopes by me, which are super simple compared especially to the details I go into in videos. So you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. All these links that I'm talking about are in the notes underneath the video. So when you click on more with the little arrow button, it will reveal all of these links. And at cozybysweetstarlight.com, you can see my written horoscopes that are also up a month early, and you can see Astrology Kissed blogs, so yoga through the signs, herbal teas through the signs. It's just a beautiful site. You'll love it. If you want to see my free courses, including one called Unleash Your Money Magnet, you can go to my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. And you can also see my paid courses there. Most of my offerings are free, but I do have some paid courses that help me to be able to have all this time to do all this free stuff. So you can see those there, including my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery course. If you think I go into a lot of details in my videos, then you will be blown away by the comprehensive nature of this course. So whether you're wanting to do astrology as a professional, or whether you're wanting to just have it for your own juicy process to help your friends and family, I teach you everything that you need to know in a beautiful stepwise process there. You can see that at lumelife.com. My book, Planetology, is very, very, very exciting. It's how to align with the natural rhythms of the universe, and it's getting closer to the time when that would be available. So you can pre-order that now. You can look for Annie Botticelli Planetology. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month.